Hi everybody. In this quick video, I'm going to show how to set up a HubSpot Pop Up Form live on your site. Now, the HubSpot Pop Up Form's a little bit different in the sense that you get three different options of where it can show. It can show at the 50% scroll mark. It can show at the intent to exit as you're moving towards the X button in your browser, or it can show after a designated period of time, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it is. So let's just dive right in. I created the test, but if you're going to start from scratch, you'd hit create form and then choose the pop-up box. This one, to save some time in the video, I already created, so I'm just going to go in and edit the form and take you through each step by step. So in the call out stage here, in the call out tab, you can do a featured image, oftentimes your logo, sometimes it's a thumbnail of, let's say, an asset, whatever it may be. Go ahead and utilize that space. We want to make the most of this space. Really, there shouldn't be anything blank here. So the call out text, grab their attention. What is this about? So download this article today is a simple example. It just says here, catch their attention, use section use action words and simple phrases. The call out body, that's where you put a little snippet of what the article, the asset is about. Call out text, the button text, try not to make this too generic, but it can be, download name of asset, download article. Download now is just why, but it's a little generic, but that's why I just threw in there. Then 90+% of the time in a pop-up form scenario, you one choose the form step. So imagine they're going to click this button, then they're taken to the form step. Within the form step is where you put your fields. Emails required. I added the minimum required email. So I added first and last name. And remember, there's no required option. Consider all these fields required. The form body, that's just to add even more information or more description. Again, make the most of this space. I typically have a copywriter, help me out here. Just something to, grab their attention and, make sure they finish the process. Give them enough to, finish out submitting the form. Form button text, very similar, in this case, it's still download now. I don't need it to be all caps. So I was just messing around. But again, make that as unique as possible. For right now, the GDPR, I'm going to leave this as none. That's just an entirely different subject. If you have GDPR issues or compliancy questions or GDPR questions, Castle, Canada's version, whatever it is, please, please, please feel free to reach out, particularly in HubSpot. We're experts in setting this up at Poppy's Decade, but I just don't want to get too deep in the weeds here in terms of what legitimate interest, versus process the consent versus process the send, so anyways, I'll leave this for none as now. Language, English, and then you can set the lead lifecycle stage if you'd like, which is a good idea here. I often add this captcha, I just toggle it on, because sometimes you will get, when you have a form continuously on your site like this, you will see some bot submissions come through. So that captcha helps, keep some of that spam and bot out. Okay, next tab, thank you. So this is where you display your thank you message. Could be a little more personalized than that. You can add a space like also visit our blog, add a link, whatever it is. And then, here's your asset, button text, right? I am your asset. And then, I'm just making it easy, but let's say it's a infographic or a white paper or, some sort of key asset. I would recommend downloading it in the HubSpot first and then doing the file download option here. In this scenario, I'm just using a very simple linking back to Poppy's Decade homepage on the CTA, but ignore that. Most of the pop-up form usage is like, I know I'm getting a lot of traffic to this blog. I know people are leaving without ever giving me information. I want to, try to capture their information. So that's the most, and convert them. So and then get the credit, right? But that's the most common scenario for pop-up form usage. Targeting, where do you want it to go? So this is a super important section. In this case, I'm just going to use one example. You can have it go on all pages of your site or more or less. And then basically, so you see show pop-up form, where do you want the peer? Right now, for this simple example, I'll have it on this page. Top 5 4 mistakes marketers see every day. And that page only. You can add even more filters, meaning even if somebody's on that page, they had a visited X number of times, they had a view a form, they had to be here recently, their country is X, their device type is Y. I mean, it gets really, really granular in terms of how you want to do it. But most of the time, it's not you don't want to go too deep into that, and it's more of like on a page by page basis, or delivering the appropriate asset for the respective page. So how can you trigger this pop-up form? 3 ways out of the box in HubSpot. I think I mentioned this in the beginning. One is at the first 50% scroll mark, so they're halfway down the page. 2 is on the exit intent, meaning they're going for the X in the top right corner. And 3 is after a certain period of time. So 7 seconds is the minimum. 30 seconds is typically what I put in if I was going to use this. I'll shorten it to 15 just for this example. So anyways, long story short, options here. Can turn this off. Some people say, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I typically do turn it off for smaller screen sizes because it can take up the whole page. But it's really like depends on what your preferences and some internal stuff. So one thing I do always do is send myself an email notification or a team member. Definitely mark these folks as marketing contacts given what they've done. So forget about automation for now. That would be building and tying into a workflow. So if we were just to go through this process and test it now, I'm just gonna update and go test it live. Okay. So if I go to this, now that I'm published, just gonna go in an incognito window. Remember our 3 ways. The first one, exit intent, right? So that works. Download now, right? I fill out my information. Make sure I'm not a bot, right? It's good. Let's do stairs. Most people don't mind these at this point, and they get ads at okay, we got it. Here's my asset. It takes me to the homepage in this example, right? So all that works. So that was the X intent. What was the other ones? I'm going to refresh here. Sorry. So I open it up again. I go down 50%. There we go. So you see here on the right-hand side, I'm down exactly 50%. Then the form shows. And then I'm not even going to show, but I promise you if I did this one more time, and I waited my 15 seconds here and just, waited for it to come. Oh, sorry, I actually didn't trigger, but I promise it will come after those 15 seconds. So those are the 3 ways, and I just want to, utilize the highlight the effectiveness of a pop-up form. Short and sweet. 2, 3, even 1 field is fine. Just email. 4 max. I would add first name, last name, email, company. Really is probably best. I guess you could throw in job title if you really wanted to. The short and sweet, the shorter the better. And yeah, it's just a great way to convert some folks that are browsing your site that just haven't converted yet. Anyways, thanks so much for listening, and please let me know of any questions. Reach out to Poppy's Tech Aid, or contact us forum, or support@poppystechAid.com. Thanks so much, everybody.